Hey, welcome to the SMarketPlace live podcast. I'm Keith Reynolds. I'm the founder of Publio, and today we've got a really exciting show for you. I'm here with my co-host Tom Dempsey.
Hey, how's it going, Keith?
Good, good. Always good to see you. We got Sarah in the background and
Hey.
making things happen. There she is. And how have you been, Tom?
Yeah, I've been well. Been really well. How about you?
I've been good. I'm down and working out of Florida the last couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And I'll be back to Denver next week.
Soon
So,
as it snows.
oh my gosh, it's been so nice down here.
Yes,
I,
that's great.
so we got a great guest today,
Yeah.
Chris Mateo. Boy, we've been working with him for 5 years. There he is. Hey, Chris.
Hey, Chris.
How's it going? How's it going, everybody?
All
Good,
right.
good. Mr. Grow Your Business.
That's what they're calling me. That's what they're calling me out here.
That's right. Well, you've been working with us in your role as creative director and technologist. And Tom and I were chatting before. The one thing that makes us unique at Publio and why we work so well with you is a lot of companies get the media or they get the technology, but to make things work in today's world, you have to have the media and the technology working together. So we really appreciate all the skills that you bring to this.
Let's go. Yeah, we've been knowing each other for a long time now. Keith and I have been working together going on 4 or 5 years. And it's been an incredible journey from the beginning of getting to know your book and Greg connecting us and things like that. And then actually us, you coming into the studio and us working on stuff. So it's just been a remarkable journey as we've been building, and you've seen like all the things I've been building and I've seen all the things you've been building. So it's come full circle that we get to work together now and be able to serve clients and really encapsulate all the marketing and technology and all the new technology with AIs and automations. Like, how can we take our proven strategies that have decades of refinement and time in the marketplace, and then utilize this new technology to create an easier user experience and make it more accessible for more people, because we've always served a higher clientele of a client, and now we have the opportunity to bring this to the masses, which is the goal.
Well, let's dive in a little bit of just on your background. Tell us about your journey here over the last 15 years from music to what you're doing now.
Well, we started up. It was really focusing on doing music marketing. My cousin Kenny had a dream that he wanted to make music, and it was 2011. I had just graduated high school, and I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do with my life and where I was gonna go next. And my godbrother had just committed suicide, Lewis, and it was a very tough time in my life. So I was trying to figure out what I was gonna do. And here comes along my cousin, a chubby, quiet kid from the suburbs of Danbury, Connecticut, and he wants to make hip hop music. And he's light skinned, white boy looking like, not like me. And I'm from the city, New York, and I'm listening to all this hip hop. And I'm like, but I listen to the music and I'm like, this is really good stuff. So I kind of get inspired, and I tell him, I want to support you. I know nobody's really supporting him on this dream and this vision. And I wanted to support him the way I wasn't able to support my godbrother Lewis. So I really doubled down and said, okay, let's take this thing serious. Let's make a real business out of it. And basically, I did what I always do, which was I started to do a lot of research on who are the people that we can follow the blueprint, that they've done something similar and that we want to create their type of legacy or success. And we looked into people like Jay-Z and what he's been able to build with Rock Nation and his entire record label. So what we realized was they built their own company from scratch. They built their own record label, and they had a marketing department, they had a web department, they had a record recording studio, so they can record music, they can do their own videos, all of this stuff. They actually created all of these departments in their business and self-funded it and grew their music business through that capacity. So that's pretty much what we started to do. We started to make our own music. We started to make our own marketing materials. We started to make our own websites and do all this stuff. And as we were doing that, we started to get traction. People started to see, oh, this is good. We created a bundle. Our first offer was a $15 bundle that came with a sticker. It came with a tank top, and it came with the first CD we ever made, and it was called Daydream. And that bundle, we used Instagram at the time, which had just came out around this time. And it was really going viral. A lot of the young kids in high school were using it, and I was just graduating. So I was like, let's leverage Instagram. So we started to take pictures of everybody that was buying or supporting by, even my parents, my friends, my cousins. I was having them take pictures with the CD, with the tank top, with the sticker, and then I would have them share it on their profiles, and I would share it on my profile. And that started to create a kind of like a viral loop inside of our community. And we started to sell out. We sold over 150 bundles in the first month. And that's when I knew, like, there's something here. I don't know what it is exactly, but this is like something like a sign of God saying, hey, keep going, keep moving forward on this. And that kind of like really gave me the business bug and really made me start looking into, what other ways could we start building off of this. And that kind of got us into going into different music events. And we started meeting, big producers, DJs, video people, and started to learn the back end of the business model, not just, the front shows and the music stuff, but how do you get to have a successful show? How do you get to sell 1 million records? Like, I started a mentor under one of my mentors is Chris Gotti, and Irv Gotti, who started Murder Inc. Records with Ja Rule, Ashanti, and things like that. So we went on tour with them for about 6 weeks, and I got to really learn how to go into a market where no one knows you, start setting up, passing out flyers, going to barbershops, going to universities, and really building that grassroots, movement, and getting people to show up to these events and getting people to come out, and then adding what I knew from social media. And then I started learning about, advertising online, funnels and automations, and how can I create automated sales process for my tickets or my music or these different type of things. And that started to really elevate, all of this different, the manual stuff with the automation stuff really started to build momentum. And that's kind of when we first started selling. People started asking us, can you do this for me? Can you make my videos for my business? Can you make my websites for my stuff? And that's when we actually made our first couple $1,000s selling these high ticket offers to other business owners. And this was just like my friends who own businesses that were like, hey, I see you're getting on news channels, you're getting on blogs, you're getting on newspapers. How can I get my local business to do the same thing? And I showed them the strategy and I executed it for them. And that's kind of how we started getting into this world.
So that's really interesting because, Tom and I are old rock and rollers, but you had to have massive resources to become a hit.
Yeah.
And now you're talking about doing it yourself and then taking those skills and bringing it over to the business side. Tell us a little bit about the parallels and the similarities that now that we're working with, ongoing concerned businesses, they're not in the music business, but they want to get the same results. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Well, one of the things that I realized, like working with Kenny as because he was the artist, but he was also the producer with me. Like, he was the creative side of the business, so he was always doing the videos, the audio recording, the graphic design, and all that type of stuff. And I was focused on the marketing and the production, like setting up the shows, what was going to make us stand out, the offers for the business, getting us on blogs, on news channels, making sure the website was converting, all these different things. So I was focused more on operations and the business development, while he was focused more on the creative and the presentation of it. And what I started to realize was that both sides are very important. And what happens in business, a lot of times the business owners are focused on just the operations. If they own a barbershop, they're focused on how could I give great haircuts. If they own a lawn company, they're focused on how can I cut more lawns. They're not necessarily focused on the marketing and the growth of that service and actually promoting it out there like an artist does. So an artist is very focused on, can I get on radio stations? Can I get my a great music video so I can get on MTV or go viral on YouTube and things like that. So the focuses from an artist is more on the front, what I like to call vanity metrics, views, engagement, things of that nature, versus on the business side is more of like the operations. How can I start scaling and getting more clients, more sales, more things of that nature? So when you start to actually bridge the gap and actually start to say, okay, these are the elements we need. We need some of this elements. Is very important to make sure the operations are good, but it's also just as important to make sure we're getting new eyeballs and getting new engagement out there. And then when you start to bridge this gap, that's when we started to find like a really good sweet spot and got the opportunities to work with way bigger clients that understood the bridge we were creating between these two sectors.
So that the skill set to market a rock and roll band, it sounded like it was more of a natural um, understanding of a band, that they need that publicity, they need the storytelling in order to sell their music. But now what we know with social media is we have to do the same thing with an EV charging company, like our client, right? There
Mhm.
are stories about the solutions and about the changes in the marketplace and about the technology um, being applied and solving problems. Um, and I know that you've done a lot of work now over the last few years. We're even working with you on a tugboat company right now. And there are so many stories, and that's really the fun part, is finding and getting other people to tell their stories.
And what I found is that if you are able to focus in on what the story of the brand is, like, for example, we were selling music and tank tops and stickers, but the story of our brand was the lifestyle. We wanted to live our dreams. The name of the company was Daydream. So we wanted to be able to pitch and present a lifestyle that we got to go on tour, we got to be at radio stations, we got to do this stuff. And when you wear our merchandise, when you listen to our music, you're gonna get inspired and motivated to do the same thing, to live your dream. So Kenny actually lost 80 pounds in his journey uh, to make music and to get on tour and stuff. So we use that as a leverage point. This is how he lost 80 pounds, listening to his music, wearing the clothes, and really being reminded that he's going to be a superstar one day. And that was the inspirational story that we pulled out of the brand. And when I took that brand story, me and him were talking, and we're trying to get on News 12 at the time, a local news station, and we were trying to figure out how we were going to do that. And we were like, what's our story? What's the main story? And I was like, dude, you lost 80 pounds. Like, let's really go in on that. And that kind of like sparked this entire new campaign of like 80 pounds for his dreams. And the News 12 loved it, the blogs, the newspapers loved it, all that stuff. And then I started to figure out I have to take that same type of brand story out for every business that I work with. Like another example was my first big client for a web development and marketing was a dog shampoo company. And we were going around selling this dog shampoo, and we were selling, let's just say $1,000, $2,000 when we would go to a conference for groomers or veterinarians. And while we were there, I knew my guy, the founder, he created this product because he had a pit bull that had really bad skin, and it was costing him thousands of dollars to go to the vet to get these things fixed and all that type of stuff. And he had explained that story to me, but I hadn't put it into a brand story yet. I was still like sitting on it. And then one day we were at the conference and I was selling, and I started to sell the story. So I told the lady came up and she's like, oh, what is this product about? And I said, oh, it's made out of all natural ingredients. And we actually created the product because our dog Lima, who had really bad skin as a pit bull, we were spending thousands of dollars at the vets. And then he created this product. So for $20 now, Lima has great skin and your dog can have great skin, and you don't have to spend thousands of dollars at the vet anymore. And literally that same day, after I did that with the first client, they didn't buy the $20. They bought the $100 package. And then I started to do that with a couple other clients. And I was like, oh, I got something here. I told him and the other sales rep that day we sold over $10,000 worth of $20, $50 shampoo, just because we identified the story. And most brands are missing out on the story, because I always say everybody wants to be Drake. Everybody wants to be Madonna, right? We all want to be Oprah. We want to feel like the rock star, like the main event person that's coming in. And a lot of times we're treating the brand and the story of our, the struggle, the trials and tribulations, we're treating that as like the ugly stepchild, and we don't want it to come to the front of the camera. But artists and musicians, that's their favorite topic. Hey, let me tell you the struggle that I went through. I slept in my car for 6 months. You know what I mean? So it's a whole different vibe there.
Yeah. One of the things that strikes me, Chris, is you throughout your career have done an amazing job of creating good, original, solid content. And in our discussions, just off camera, um, you've combined that with automation, right? With automating that content and coming up with unique and creative ways to present the content that you have, and then automating it so it helps to create the brand on a deeper level. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, so one of the things that and this comes back to like music, right? Where I always think of things as like it's a crescendo of building elements, right? So we're starting off with building that first element of, do you have a brand story? Do you have brand colors and all these basic things? Like, do you have a vision and a mission for your brand, for your business? And all of these things start to build composing the track, composing the album, if you want to call it that, and it starts to add into the experience. So what's the difference between an amazing album and a flop? Is usually the experience of the first song leads into the second song, which leads into the third song, which leads into the hit, and then the videos match that experience. When you go buy the album, it matches the experience from, remember when we used to buy the album and it had the flip books and tell you what the artist did and all this type of stuff. So all of these things were part of creating an amazing experience. So I really locked in on how can I do that now through a digital format, because we no longer are selling CDs. We're selling streams. We're no longer selling, let's just say, for example, a live show in person. We might be selling a live show online. So all of these things, the experience still has to be as equivalent or better than if they were going into the store to buy the actual CD. So what I started to do was incorporate what we call funnels and different web pages to actually walk the user through a guided experience. So what does that mean? Let's say somebody opts in and they're interested in our music album or in our service for marketing or anything like that. There's going to be people, there's different pathways, different yellow brick roads we want to take them down. Some people, they want to do it themselves. They don't have the revenue or the money right now to pay thousands of dollars for a marketing service or to do whatever. So they might want to just, hey, what's the cheapest free option? Let me, for an artist, what's the free song I could listen to see if I even like this person? So we'll guide them down that path. Hey, here's a free album. Here's a free PDF checklist, or here's a free training on how we do what we do. So that now they can get understanding and start to build that trust, right? And they're going to go down that path. And down that path, we have automated emails and text messages to get them to nurture and like us and know us and get better relationship with the brand. And eventually they'll be ready to move on to the next step. The next step would be maybe a couple $100 where, hey, they're investing in more processes, more templates, more things for them to be able to do more of their own stuff. So this is what I call the done with you layer. And this is people who are, they have a little bit more money than someone who's just starting out, but then they don't have enough money to have someone else do it for them. So this is where they're kind of giving up a little bit of revenue so that they can actually spend a little bit of time as well learning and developing the skills to do it themselves. So that's another track. And the last track is done for you. So this is when I charge someone to do the product or service for them, and then I charge them a high ticket so then they be able to work with me. And all three of those have different emails, text messages, different web pages, literal landing pages that change based on that user that's going through that path. So imagine, I always like to compare it to like Disney World, right? You go through Disney World and everybody has a different experience. That's why I love Disney, because you could be with the little girl, the teenager, the mom and the dad, and everybody's experiencing the same stuff, but everybody's having a complete different nostalgic moment with the exact experience. So this is what we try to create through online experiences of these emails, text messages, even voicemail, phone calls. All of those things create that extra touch and make people want to build with you, grow with you, and spend more with you eventually.
And you do it in a natural way, right? I think a lot of people don't do automation well, and it comes off cheesy, but planned well. This extends beyond just selling media and marketing services, but a widget, right? You can plan this out. There are known ways to get people to have an experience, and it can be well thought out. It can be a joyful experience for them.
I would argue that the way to make this, like the way you make automations feel like a connection and something deeper, is by like thinking through the entire process of your customer, thinking through it. Like, it doesn't matter, coming back to the barbershop example or to the lawnmower example, there's a lot of revenue being left on the table because we're not thinking through the entire process. But if you actually sat down, let's say my uncle's a barber, he's been a barber my entire life for 30 years, and he's had the same clients for decades, literally 20, 30 years have been coming and cutting his hair with him. I told him, is there ways for him to do different upsells for them? Hey, maybe get them on a recurring so they pay once a month $100 and they get 2 haircuts. That's just one example. Maybe he sends automated emails and texts like, hey, I did your shape up last week. Do you need a fade? Do you need your beard done? We got new services that we're doing, manicures, whatever things to groom these men to spend more dollars. This is what's going to raise that average cart value. Average cart value is what we focus on, and lifetime value. These 2 metrics are super important when you're talking about including automations, because if you can leverage automated tools to raise that. So average cart value, somebody spends $20 on a haircut, but if he gets them that they only spending $20 every 2 weeks, so they spend $40 a month on his haircut products. But if he put them on recurring and charge them $100 a month, and they got 2 extra cuts or a barber, a beard experience or whatever, now he just raised that cart value by 40, $60, and that allows him to make even more profit. So these type of things, from making it personal, it directly correlates to the revenue if you know how to do it the right way. And one thing I wanted to say too on making it personal, I had one ad that I was running where I was texting people automated through when they opted in on a Facebook advertisement. So they would say, I'm interested in marketing services, and then I would send them a text. The robot would send them a text. The robot would say, hey, Tom, how you doing today? Hope all is well. And then I would make it so it messes up the spelling. And then it'll actually send another message like 30 seconds later and say, oh, excuse me, how you doing today? Let's and just because I messed it up on purpose, it gave it more of a personal feel, and I got an 80% more conversion rate than another ad that was just being very direct and very automated. So just literally making mistakes in the automation makes it feel more personal and makes people want to engage even deeper.
Well, what's so cool for us is, as I've gotten to know you, right, we have this 5-year history, and then the last 6, 7 months, we've been working a lot more on, like, our clients are higher ticket items. So being able to apply your kind of thinking that has worked and these techniques have been developed, right? This is all new stuff. So it's been developed with smaller ticket items. The metrics are different, the journey is different, but to sell a $30,000 or $150,000 product and service, you've got the same techniques can apply. It's just you have to understand the process and the journey are a little bit different. So, and we've had so much fun applying that with you. That's why, we're growing together, because it works.
Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things. For the higher the ticket, the item you're trying to sell, the more important it is to lock in and focus on that customer journey. So if you always know, if you're thinking like your customer, then you're able to think what their logical next step is after they do your service. So for example, if I know they need marketing and they need funnels, for example, logical steps, they're going to need content. Logical steps, they're going to need advertisement. These are 2 logical steps that are going to be done after I finish building their website. So what do? I go and I hire an advertisement contractor to work with me. I hire a content person to work with me. So now we offer the full suite. And now we're able to not just offer them, hey, here's a $2,000 website, but here's a $5,000 package that includes the ads, the content, and everything else you need on top of that. So this is the way you start. If you can think through that process of where your customer is going to go to next, or even before you, this allows you to be way more valuable to them along their journey, because it doesn't matter if they're coming, if they got to you, they were searching for other people before you, right? So if you know how to talk to the people or get inside of the ads or the podcasts or the different shows that they're looking for research on, now you have a bit more opportunities to get more clients. And then if you know where they're going to go after you, then you have even more opportunity to raise that cart value and that lifetime value as well.
Well, I know you have a deadline. We're getting to the part of the show where we get to talk about our favorite thing, and that's music. And I look forward to kind of getting a little sense of that. But what I just want to reiterate to everybody is that your skill set is having been developed in the music space and working with people selling products that they can buy online are now extending out to what people need to do by when they implement tools like HubSpot, Go High Level, having a podcast, uh, creating written content, long form, and having smaller form content that help them in their decision making, right? And selling a more complex product. You're like fitting in as a natural. And that's just been a really great part of working with you and growing this over the last few months. Um, so, Tom, let's dive in on the music side.
Yeah, for sure. Everybody's got good stories. Chris, I'll bet you have a bunch, especially if you travel with bands and DJs and some fun performers.
So you guys want me to tell a story of like music
Yeah,
from me?
what's
Yeah,
your music?
whatever comes to
What's your
mind.
music, Juju?
So my music taste has developed a lot in the last few years. When I was very young and I lived in New York and Washington Heights, the only music I really listened to was like hip hop and reggaeton, like Spanish hip hop basically. And I was very secluded to just this music. Then when I moved to Connecticut in Norwalk, I got exposed to rock, and I had never heard rock before. And then I got put on by one of my friends to Linkin Park, and to Papa Roach and these type of guys. And I just started to like fall in love. I was like, what? There's a whole nother genre. I didn't even know there was another genre of music. So this was like shocking to me. And I just started to dive deep into all their albums, all their music. And then I started to listen to all these other subsets and genres of music, including country, including Afro beats, including even going into my Spanish roots and listening to bachata and salsa and different music like that. So I just started to like really get excited with like kind of like if it was food, and I was tasting all these different cultures and all these different flavors of music. And that really excited me. And recently, what my favorite music to listen to, I like to listen to a lot of Afro beats, and I like to listen to a lot of what I call chill hop, which is a lot of music that I work to when I'm doing coding or working on different stuff. It's like background beats that just kind of like play and like relax kind of
I've
stuff.
never heard chill hop. I love it because I've been listening to like trance and chill music when I work, and it just plays in the background. It doesn't take your attention, and every once in a while you go, "Oh, that's cool." But yeah, very interesting your journey to get there, and then to give it a name like chill hop. That's cool. That's really and building on what you said about moving, I was just talking to somebody the other day that where you live, you know, influences your music taste, and if you're open to change as you travel around, and speaking of travel, I'm working out of Denver these days. I've been working for the last couple weeks down in Florida. I've got a trip planned to Chicago, and um, that influence great to be able to get up and wander around the country or the world. And where are you working from these days?
So I'm a full-time digital nomad, so I love to work all over the world. In the last couple of weeks, we've been working out of France as well as Italy, Switzerland, Spain. So just been traveling all the different areas out here, and that's something that I love to do when I'm like, especially in different countries with different languages. I like to listen to the music. Like I've been while we've been out here in France, I've been really listening to a lot of French music. Like Charlotte's been showing me, French hip hop, French pop songs, different type of stuff, and like I'm in love with it. Like there's an artist called Stroma, Stromae, and like he's an older artist as far as like his big albums were a couple years back, but for me is all brand new because I never heard it before. So to me, I'm like, this is the hottest music I ever heard in my life right now. So I'm just like, I like listen to this album like literally on replay every single day, like just the whole album. I listen through the 12 tracks, and I literally have her translate for me. So like I'm learning French through the music, and just like I because I
Mm.
have no problem listening to a song, 50 times if I like it. So I'll start to get the, what's the chorus, what's the bridge. Like I'm starting to learn, like, okay, this is how you say these words. So to me, every place we go to, I try to find a song or an album that encapsulates that entire trip or that entire genre, like, that entire journey we had there. So when we was in Dominican Republic, my album that I was listening to a lot was Bad Bunny, and his entire album of like, it was Spanish music, hip hop, and like a really good reggae feel to it. So that was when we was in the island in the beach mode. It felt, very environmentally correct. And then now that I'm here in France, it's the same concept. I feel like very excited by these French sounds and these type of instruments and vocals and what I'm listening to. So all of this stuff is very inspiring, and it helps me kind of like, I don't know, take in the memory of the moment even deeper.
Mm. Well, and I'll jump on one other thing that's just been fascinating, because you and I have had this project um, in New York City. You're working out of France and Switzerland over the last couple weeks on this, and I've been traveling, and yet we had a local shooter go in and do video in 2 offices down by the Port of New York and capture the video we needed. We collected other video from the client's archives, and we've also had audio recorded interviews as well. And so now we have our editor working somewhere else, pulling it together. And so we're all wandering around the world while working and making value in New York City or in Connecticut or in Denver. And um, that ability to travel around and have your own freedom and your lifestyle. And I love your whole theme we haven't gotten into on profit off of your passion, right? To be able to do that no matter where you are, and be able to go over and visit your wife's family, or for me to be down in Florida and visit my family for Thanksgiving and not miss a beat. Tell us a little bit about that, that part of your experience and what we've been doing this past couple months.
Yeah, so I love this part of like being able to have these experiences, be with family, be with a lot of me and Keith talk about it all the time, but health issues with family members and different things like that. So being able to actually spend time with the people we love and have those moments, it means so much to me. But then at the same time, we all have bills, we all have to do the things to grow our business and keep scaling. So it's definitely not an easy thing to just go out and do it without experience. You have to kind of build the muscle of how do you do this? How do you make money from remotely? How do you service clients and still give them that grade A experience, even if you're not physically there? So this is all stuff that I had to learn, and thankfully we have a decade plus of experience to feed off of, and that's what allowed us to really be successful throughout this journey. And we're still working on it. We're still making, getting better for our clients. But I was literally with Keith co-directing and producing this entire shoot, telling the videographer, this is where I want the cameras, the lighting, explaining to him, the concept, showing to him the timeline and the scripts and what we're going to go for. And Keith was asking the questions. I would interrupt once in a while and say, hey, say that again, or do this way to this client. And it was literally a full, they had a full production team, from production assistant, videographer, producer, creative director, and we were all in different parts of the world making this happen. So it was an amazing experience. And I've had the privilege of working with other agencies and other companies where I've been the guy on the ground being the videographer, or I've been the production assistant helping the videographer, the director. And now I get to be from this side of the other side of the world and being the creative director and the producer. So it's just an evolution of, as you do more skills, you're able to do more while working less, essentially, because you actually understand how all the pieces work together. So that's really been I think a big piece of how, I don't have to be on the ground shooting, because I know I've shot that shot 100 times how I need him to shoot it. So I can directly tell him, do it this way, and he can get what I'm looking for out of it. And that allows everything to move a lot faster and smoother. And it's been an amazing experience. Like your help as far as just being able to coordinate with everything, and Sarah's help and everybody working together. It's really a team effort, and I wouldn't be able to do it without my team at GYB, my editors, my project managers, Jan, and all this type of stuff. Like all of these people, they play a key role in moving the production along and helping us get to final products. But it definitely comes from just going through the trials and errors and learning on the job and learning how to do this stuff. And then that gives you enough confidence and ability to direct the people in the game with you. Of, hey, it's just like a coach in sports. I've seen this move. They've done this move. I have 10 years that I had a team, year one beat me with that one. I'm not going to let them beat me on that one. So we're able to come out and pull out a different playbook. But with my 10 plus years and Keith's 10 plus, 20 plus years in the game, we have enough experience that we could come in and there's nothing really shocking or brand new that we haven't encountered,
Absolutely. And so in the case that we've been talking about here, we're working with a company that's 160 years old. And when you ask them what they attribute that to, it's the first is that they're a family. They treat their people, whether it's customers, employees, partners, as family, and those values come through. And then secondly, innovation. And it really struck me that here we are. They are used to going into a physical office, but they have offices from Maine to Puerto Rico, all up and down the Eastern Seaboard. So they were used to being virtual, right? But then we're coming in and saying, well, to help you tell your story and to build out the goals and objectives that you have for doing media now, we're going to teach you to work that way. And they have responded, right? And they've gotten it, and we all had the trust to be able to get this together, and we had the experience to back that trust up. So, again, I just want to say how thrilled we are. Tom, I want to get you in on some of these projects with the questions, because what we did was we wrote a script, and put it out there, and then got them on a call like this while the videographer was on site. And I'm actually want to shout out to Matt James, a guy that I've met in Denver, who has PA Nation. So now we have a network of videographers all over the world that we can call to go and do the local work and still be able to live our lives and have the freedom and the creativity to be with our families and take care of our customers.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm just super excited that it's that the way automations, AI, virtual stuff is happening now is like there's so much opportunity to grow. There's so much opportunity to build real relationships, meaningful relationships. Like we obviously started and knew each other from working in the same state and
We
being
had
in
to go into a
Connecticut.
physical studio when we first started,
Yep, and
right?
you came to the physical studio and all that. But like now, we've nurtured the relationship pretty much for the last 4 or 5 years since we both left Connecticut virtually. And even you coming out to Atlanta at one point and coming out there and being with some of my clients out there, like all of that was happening through virtual conversations, through all this type of stuff. So it's just like it's a very big difference of like how business was done just 10 years ago, even 5 years ago before COVID, and the comfortability of virtual sessions and all this type of stuff. Now it's like common nature. Like almost everybody is, oh yeah, let's jump on a quick Zoom. Like, but before, 5 years ago, Zoom wasn't even a thing.
That's so true. It's really become part of the fabric of how we do things, and that allows us to create new kinds of solutions that nobody ever thought about before. Well, this has been. We were really excited to have you on the show and build on all this collaboration that's like taking place here in 2024. I can't believe we're wrapping up the year and working on our plans for 2025.
So true.
So, well, Tom, thanks again for joining us, and Chris, thanks for
Thank
joining
you.
us. And
I wanna tell everybody on here in the SmarketPlace community and everything that we're doing with Publio, with Tom and with Keith. You guys are really dealing with some great experts who really know the stuff. They're helping me along with a lot of my stuff as well. And we're partnering and working on a lot of different projects. So I'm just excited to see how we keep evolving this community, this network, this show, as well as all of the other partnerships and other clients and things that we're serving. So I just want to give you guys a huge shout out for your excellence and the way you guys work with me as a partner, as a client, and all the different layers that you guys are working with me on, as well as the way I've seen you guys produce and work with our clients and our, other people that we're working with as well. So just huge shout outs to you guys. Keep doing this thing. I think it's very needed in the marketplace for people to talk about all these different layers from sales, marketing, and of course our love of music, and bringing all these things together. There's a specific pocket that's not being covered that you guys are doing a fantastic job on this. So I just want to give you guys a huge shout out.
well, we
Thank you,
appreciate
Chris.
that.
Yeah,
Definitely.
absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you guys for having me.
And the message I want to end on is all of this technology, all of this AI, all the social media, it's nothing without relationships and creativity. And the AI is never going to do the creativity. What we use the automations for is to address the things that are monotonous and repeatable, right? And so it's that skill set to be able to look at the situation, understand the process, and automate the things that are not creative and spend more time on the creativity and the storytelling.
Yep. I love it.
All right, gentlemen. Thank you. Sarah, thank you so much for keeping this going. You remember Go Gadget? I had this vision the other day. It's like Sarah's the one that holds it all together. She's working in the background and allows us to be successful. So shout out, Sarah. Thank you.
Hey, yeah,
She is.
always happy to support the team.
Let's go. She's the oil that keeps this baby running.
That's right. That's right.
All right, guys. Have a wonderful afternoon. Get back to our routine, and we'll be online next week.
Take care.
Thank you guys.